This week on the segment, pretty excited, we have the rock star of the print industry here in the Northern Territory. We have Mr. Tony Coleman. I call him the Robbie Williams of the print industry. Mr. Tony Coleman. Hey guys, welcome back. It's the segment and we have the Robbie Williams of the print industry in the house, Mr. Tony Coleman. I'm not sure I should be working on your brand. Hey mate, welcome. It's fantastic to have you in here. Mate, your family, your dad, granddad, great heritage in the town. Tell us about Colemans Printing. You can't be a Territorian and not know about Colemans Printing, but tell me firsthand about Colemans Printing.
Really quickly. Grandfather was sent here in the 1930s to start running the newspaper. Went through World War II, came back to printing, started the NT newspaper. Murdoch bought it off him, started a commercial printer. A few years later, called Colemans Printing. Gone through the Cyclone Tracy's, gone through fire that completely destroyed Colemans Printing in '88. To today's coronavirus.
Well, the whole reason this segment was set up was to sit down and talk with people that have been there and done that and have stood the test of time. So honestly, it's a great pleasure to have you, mate. So let's talk turkey a bit. So why on earth or how did Tony Coleman get into the printing game? So obviously you picked it up and followed in your family's footsteps.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was something that it was never pushed on me. It was just something I used to go in on weekends and just love spending time on the floor in the factory and, learning what the guys are doing. And I guess it just became, in the blood, and I wanted to live and breathe it, and decided that's what I want to do.
So obviously a commercial arrangement, you bought the business from your family, bought from Dad, is that how it worked?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you get a good deal?
He would say yes, I'd say no.
So tell me, these days, obviously printing industry has changed and we'll talk about that, but what are the core services or the three main things? Obviously there's a huge suite. Yep. We're in your factory this week, amazing. Yep. What are the three main branches to Colemans Printing?
So graphic design, which so we do a lot of the graphic design for all the print work we do. We obviously do commercial printing. Our big clients are everything from government to tourism to your local plumber down the road, and more recently getting into the signage world, from vehicle wraps to front building of signage and things like that.
So obviously Aussies, we find it hard to pat ourselves on the back, and we do live with a bit of a tall poppy syndrome. But obviously, clearly, the Colemans brand has done something right. Now let me put you in. What do you believe the Colemans brand has got right in our local community?
I think what's made us where we are today is we've always invested. That's been our number one strategy. Make sure we keep investing. We go away every 4 years to the World Expos and make sure we're up with the times. I think local community is being involved in the local community, from looking after your Starlight balls and sponsoring that. My wife, Magdalene, and Justin are on the board of the Starlight, just being, I guess, part of the community.
And I reckon, because I knew your dad growing up in town as a teenager. I'm 51 years young now, but your dad was pretty active in community events.
Yes.
And nothing has changed. I ran into your brother Justin the other day, and he's over helping St. Mary's, and everybody's doing something. But there is this perception that the Colemans are on their $squillion yacht, and taking all the funds and building another. Do you get any negative flack? About the Colemans are building another business or another pub, or?
I can assure you that's not the case. But I think what we've got to do as a community is be more supportive of each other. Get behind the local brands, because the local families that are just trying to make a dollar, and that's all we're all trying to do. Yeah, is we're trying to make a dollar so we can have a comfortable life. But we support your St Mary's, your Starlights. The list is
endless. But the thing that people forget, Tony, is that you put millions of dollars back into the community, meaning you look after so many families. There's leases on equipment, you use local suppliers. I was in a conference recently where I saw you just about have a heart attack, where a gentleman, good guy, stood up and he said basically to a whole bunch of business, take your printing overseas to China. And I looked at your face. And Tony was just about had a heart attack, because I know you support local and it's something that's in your heritage to support local.
And I think that's a really good point, that, for every dollar spent in the Northern Territory, as a dollar, it's not just spent on, you go to Pratt Fine Foods and you buy a bottle of wine, it doesn't just go to that bottle of wine, it goes to so many things, that $1 that if you're supporting local businesses, it's going into your footy clubs or your charities, your local charities, and all these sorts of things, into the kids. So I think every time that someone wants to go overseas to buy something, or get online and buy a dress instead of going down to Attitude for Men or something like that, it's really annoying and upsetting that people actually do that. It's really important that locals support locals.
I totally agree 100% about supporting local. So tell me, in the last 20 years, everybody's gone, you've got to, particularly for larger businesses, you've got to be eco-friendly, you can't print, and for you being a printer, that's your business.
Yeah, absolutely.
So obviously the industry's changed. How much has it changed?
I think you look at 20 years ago and there was hardly any emails. There was no such thing as the iPhone. So it's changed dramatically in our world, and we've had to adapt to the new world, but understand that all print these days is done on sustainable forests. So that environmental impact, there's really, I'm sorry, but there's no argument for it. So
that's really good, because most of us wouldn't know that.
Really big point is someone looking through their emails, if they're looking at marketing things or someone gets sent spam emails, what's the first thing you do? You'll delete it before you do anything. You go to your letterbox, you're going to get that junk mail, and you will look at it. Whether it's your Domino's brochure or something like that, people will look at it. But you get your spam junk email, you're going to throw it.
Delete. Is this eco-friendly? Is it a big issue for you at all? Is it something that has pushed on you that had to battle through?
I think it's not so much pushed on us, but we are. Last stats I was told that we're the biggest private recyclers, privately owned business recycling in the Northern Territory. So we make sure we recycle everything we possibly can, from our paper to all sorts of different materials we use in the print industry. Not so much pressure, we just want to do it.
Yeah, good. Hey, we got the opportunity to go for a tour through the factory. It's huge. Like, it's quite actually staggering how big the factory is. But one thing that really sort of took my breath away was the size and the magnitude and the cost of some of these machines must be absolutely astronomical, not only to purchase, but to continue to run. How often do you have to upgrade in your world? Because I imagine that's something that the industry changes pretty rapidly.
First point I wanted to say on that was, when you entered the factory, it's one of the common comments, gee, I didn't realise this was all back here. And I encourage anyone that wants to come and have a look, please come and have a look, because we are so proud of our business and what we do have out the back, because it is the only one of its type in Northern Australia with the sort of machinery we do have. A lot of these machines, the starting point is sort of 300,000-400,000, and it's going into your millions from there. So a lot of business cards to print to try and pay for that.
So structuring a deal, obviously, a machine, I imagine, correct me if I'm wrong, they start at $500,000 or more. I don't know what they do, but how do you as a business go, okay, I've got 4 years or 6 years, or do you finance with your banks? Do you finance with the distributors? How do you do that up here? And could you offer any advice for people that might be trying to make large purchases in their businesses here in the Northern Territory?
There's no one answer to that one. We do both, but predominantly through our bank. I think you'll find you get normally a better rate through your bank, where the supplier's probably more lenient if cash flow's tight and things like that, your supplier will give you that credit.
Because you mentioned to me also that you've got an advantage where you can call people that aren't your competitors.
Absolutely. One of the benefits of being in the Northern Territory is you can go down south and you can go and have a look at these machines, and these businesses will open up their doors to you because they don't believe you're in opposition, and they'll open the doors up to you and they will answer just about any question you ask them, which is great. And it's one of the benefits of being in the Northern Territory, for sure.
Husband and wife team. So obviously you've got the title as Managing Director, and your wife Magdalene is?
CEO.
Look out, baby. Husband and wife team. Is it that scenario where you go home, you're having tea and you're talking about, is it that, or are you able to close the door? How does that work? Obviously it works very well.
As I'm sure you're aware, that's impossible to do that. But I think the majority of the time we try and leave it at work. There are points where we need to talk about things at home because you don't want to talk about it in the business itself, but predominantly we try and leave it at home. But I think being a husband and wife team, there are pluses and minuses, but for me, a lot more pluses. Magdalene and I are yin and yang. Magdalene's fantastic at talking to people and the sales and networking and things like that. And I love my factory. I could just spend my life in that factory, but it doesn't happen like that.
Well, you're doing all right today here, mate. You're doing all right. Tell me, if you were, let's say you were put on, a business program, and Channel 9 called up and they said, listen, we want you to represent the Northern Territory and we want you to give some business advice to people starting businesses in the Northern Territory. And you're speaking to the whole of Australia. Obviously, you've got the heritage there and you've got the runs on the boards. What are some of the key factors, if you look back, that it has helped the Coleman brand be successful?
I think the biggest one is, I said it earlier, surround yourself with good people. Whether that's a business mentor, and you don't have to call them a business mentor, they're just a friend, or staff. If you find some shooting stars in your business, grab them and hold on to them, and you'll be on the right path if you do that, for sure.
So keep positive people around you.
Absolutely.
All right, so tell me, are there any Northern Territory businesses? I think one of the great things that business owners learn from is other businesses. We don't necessarily need to go into a 7-step course, but are there any Northern Territory businesses that you really admire that have sort of helped you?
Look, admired. There are so many, but if I was to pick two, first and probably the most obvious is Pass Bailey's, being a family business, Darwin business that has now worldwide, and it is in the biggest cities in the world, is amazing, and hats off to them. Second for me would be probably Core Staff, starting from zero to being probably the largest employment agency in Australia. Amazing.
Incredible journey. Tell me about this. Also, going back to the technology question, is quite often Darwin has been referred to as, you're 20 years behind, or your equipment's 20, catch up with the ages. Would that be true for the printing industry, or not even remotely true?
For us, definitely not. And it's something that my father's instilled in me, is that we need to be relevant, we have to keep up with technology. Yep. We would go to trade shows every 4 years. Over in Germany, it's a World Trade Expo, and we're investing in the latest technologies. So if you walk into my factory, just about every machine on my floor is one of a kind in Northern Australia, and it is some of the machines we have only one of its kind in Australia. So I think we're definitely keeping up with the world, not just Australia or Darwin. Definitely.
All right, so we're going to finish up here with 10 fast questions, all right? You ready?
Yes.
I know you're an avid fisherman, you love your fishing. Where do you love to fish the most? Can you give me a couple of spots?
No chance am I giving that one away.
All right, scrap that one. Favourite restaurant?
Has to be Yachts.
Yachts?
I've got to say that probably, don't
Evan, yo yachts.
Yeah, I love yachts.
And charity, I know what you're going to say here.
Yes, Starlight.
Everyone's involved. If you're in business, you're supporting a charity up here at some level. Favourite place in the NT you like camping?
I love Litchfield. I think it's just a fantastic, it's 1 hour away and you're at amazing waterfalls and all those sorts of things.
I'd agree with that. Coffee shop, I know you and your wife do like your coffee.
Cool Spot is my favourite place.
Cool Spot. Favourite dry season event?
That's a real tough one, but I'm going to go back to, and I keep saying it, but Starlight. I think it's the start of the ball season and everyone is just looking forward to a great event, and it always is never ever, and it's, 12 years now, it's never disappointed.
How hilarious. We have a ball season here in the Northern Territory. We're so small, but we have a ball season.
And we have one every week.
And who's the easiest to employ, male or female?
Oh, no, that's a loaded question too. No way I'm going there.
Hey, listen, the future is, it's a very, very difficult time for many industries, and some industries are thriving, but obviously there's opportunity for your industry right now. What does Tony Coleman see in the next sort of 3 to 5 years in your industry for the Northern Territory?
I see in the industry, it's probably going to start plateauing. We have lost 2 or 3 of our long-lasting print businesses through more older age and their health. But I think it'll start plateauing. For Colemans Printing, I see us investing still heavily in the Northern Territory, and I see a really bright future. I'm really looking forward to the next 5 years for sure.
Good on you. Hey, listen, I know you're a huge supporter on a local. Your family's a massive advocate for supporting local. You're much better looking and smarter than your brothers. But listen, all the very, very best, and thanks for coming on. And you are the Robbie Williams of the printing game, mate.
Thank you. And I also wanted to say, if I can, this is an amazing program that you've set up here, mate, and hats off to you, because I think it's got to be about supporting locals, and you 100%. Showing people what's happening around the Territory is fantastic, and well done, buddy.
Thanks, mate. Okay, where are those fishing spots now?
We've still got the cameras rolling.